then you can bring together different expertise, different skills. How do you think this can go beyond this digital culture and go to the real world sometimes in a conservative world of jobs? How do you think about that?
Do you think of any particular sector?
Not any particular sector, just a different kind of segment, different kind of culture of work, you know, that we see very often in digital culture, but not in the other kind of jobs.
So I think this type of collaboration with artists could definitely benefit more than just the digital world. I think we definitely need art education, whatever, for everybody, at least an approach to it. Now, I don't have think of any other domains where it would apply or have any examples, but definitely what I see in the potential of what artists bring is definitely a different perspective on their surroundings, different perspective on the issues that we have in our lives. And I think this kind of like outside of the box or more maybe contemplative approach, or also the way artists usually function, making associations where we don't usually see them, is probably beneficial for a lot of cases. Yes, so I would agree with that. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm sure you can also ask in Portuguese if you want, and somebody will translate.
Hi. How long do you expect this kind of work will come to us and be more popular, more easier to find, and easier to cultures that have less money and time to research and find this kind of work and enterprises that do that?
Okay. Thank you for the question. I unfortunately don't know much about the situation in Brazil or here. I can only suppose. What I can say is I don't know how, I don't think it's only a question of money. Of course it helps, like all the things, but it's a mindset. It's more about creating collaborations and opening up to these new collaborations as a way to address problems. And maybe when whatever your business or whatever your project is, with the amount of money you have, if you're trying to address those issues and trying to understand them and be creative about them, then consider bringing an artist and balance your budget in a way that collaboration like this would be possible. Because especially in the field of technology, I think, is we shouldn't allow, it's a personal opinion here, but we shouldn't allow the companies with the most money dictate where technology should go, right? And so, wherever we are, by bringing artists in the mix and working with technologists, we can start thinking about alternative solutions in a very powerful way, and I think a very efficient way. So it's probably, if we're looking for independent independence, technological independence, national independence in terms of technology, I think a way to address this in an efficient way, and so money efficiency also, is by creating those type of collaborations. So, yeah, that's my opinion. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you.
Is there another question?
Hi, sorry, my English not very well. For you think the best way for little companies to make your first, or I don't know, hackathons, it's good hackathons for little companies. So you think the best way to make it this?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question, so I'm going to repeat it and you tell me if it's right or not. So what would be the best way for a small company to bring artists and organize hackathon? Is that an understanding of it?
I will try to translate it.
Yeah.
He asked which is the best way to create a hackathon for small companies.
Right. So, again, a personal opinion here. I think hackathons sometimes have been a way for large companies to gather ideas and take them away from people, right? And I think with ThoughtWorks Arts we were very careful of not doing that. And it's more about creating opportunities for people to meet and work together. So, in a small company, I'm sure the first thing you should do, I think, to do this is create a network. And so reach out in the people you know, reach out in the environment and the surroundings where your company is and your company is acting. So you're based somewhere, there are people and artists around you, and there's other companies around you. And I think those things work by creating collaboration right from the start. So if you have a small company and you have a lot of energy, maybe you can do this by your own and just opening up your doors, once a month or once a week or whatever. Start inviting people to just exchange ideas with you and be open to that exchange. And then you will have the network, the material, the time, and also the ideas of the subjects you want to address for a type of hackathon. Thank you. Any more questions? Yes?
Hey Julian, thanks for coming. You talked a little bit about, labs, right? And it's a moment where we have a great creative process, right? It's about the research, you are bringing new ideas from the scratch, right? In your experience, labs is a very important part where we are beginning the creation, but you have another part which is product development, right? You have lots of processes and steps, right? So in your experience, do you see that this connection can be also used in this other part of the process when you already have a product being developed and where you are already in connection with the users? That's my question.
Yes. I agree with you. To rephrase what you said, I think what ThoughtWorks is doing at ThoughtWorks is focusing on more like long-term, third horizon, like we say, projects around technology, and is not directly tied, and is not tied to the business, right? We do this to come with ideas about where technology is going to drive us in 5 years, right, or in 10 years, if that's even possible to think about. And through these activities, we address complex problems, right? Against like biosurveillance or DNA surveillance and so on, or emotion recognition, etc. Now, product development, I think, is a more short-term project, right? It's to come with ideas for a business partner or a business to come with a solution or a new project that will be released in a 1 year or 2 years time. And for that, at ThoughtWorks, we also believe that the best way to do this is by building cross-disciplinary teams yes, having designers, developers, people with different backgrounds and experience, whether they're artists or whatever their experience is, the more you're going to have a diverse team of people, the better you can build a product that is going to bring something new or something different or something unseen, unexpected in the mix. Yes. Thank you.
Hi. It's not like a doubt, it's like I want to know more about your opinion. Like in the past, we had engineers that were also artists, like Leonardo da Vinci. Now we have engineers and we have artists. Do you think that in the future, like we now know we have to be able to have more like than one type of intelligence? Do you think in the future we will have to be engineers that are as well artists?
Yeah, good question. I don't know actually. It's a good question. I think what is important for artists who work in this field is to have a little bit of an engineering mind. You know, we usually invite artists to work with ThoughtWorks Arts, artists that understand technology, and sometimes understand very complex technology. For example, we just have an open call that just finished, and I'm going to talk about that because it's been quite a stretch to find artists who could address those issues. But the open call we just finished, and we haven't selected an artist yet, but it's going to come in San Francisco at the end of the year, is around the issues surrounding artificial intelligence and the fact that artificial intelligence right now is being captured by very few highly powerful tech companies, right? We know them, there are like 4 or 5 of them. And they're deciding what is the future of artificial intelligence for us. And so the open call we start running is to address those issues and say, well, if artificial intelligence is going to be everywhere, how can we make sure everybody has equal access to it? How can we make sure that our thinking, our political agendas are also being taken care of, and that we can also use the power of artificial intelligence for our own benefit and not just the benefit of a few large companies? And so the open call was an invitation for artists to address this. On top of that, we added that we think that the best way to make artificial intelligence a common good is to decentralize it. And the way to decentralize things today is by using blockchain technology. So the artists that we're looking for to address this issue, we expect them to understand a little bit how artificial intelligence works, how blockchain works, because once you understand those technologies, you can start making being critical of them, or having an approach to them that really brings them in a direction that nobody has seen. So we're not requesting from artists to be able to build artificial intelligence or blockchain technology, but at least to understand that. So I think it's close to an engineer, if they're not. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. Thank you. There's another one? Yes.
Eu vou fazer uma pergunta em português.
Somebody will translate this. Thank you.
Ok. Eu acho que é um complemento um pouco ao que a moça anterior perguntou. Né? Eu trabalho também como artista e como engenheiro de software. E as pessoas aqui um pouco preocupadas com o custo que tem para se integrar arte e tecnologia. Porém, você falou que, ao menos o que eu consegui assistir, a maioria dos projetos estão disponíveis como free software. Então, a parte desse custo, talvez a maior parte desse custo já tenha sido coberta por engenheiros de outros países, né? O que eu notei aqui no Brasil, trabalhando nas duas áreas, né?
Magic of technology. By the way, there's a person behind this.
Ok, eu vou iniciar de novo a questão. Tá? Eu acho que é um complemento ao que a moça perguntou antes. Eu trabalho aqui com arte e com tecnologia aqui no Brasil. E esses dois mundos, que me parece aqui em Porto Alegre, eles não se comunicam muito. Os engenheiros de software aqui não têm a mínima ideia do que se passa, desprezam manifestações artísticas mais contemporâneas. E os artistas aqui não têm a mínima ideia de como a tecnologia funciona. Eles não conversam entre si. Eu gostaria de saber da tua experiência como é que isso funciona em outros países, se é um pouco mais conectado. Né? E só um complemento, o pessoal preocupado aqui, vai utilizar tecnologia misturada à arte, qual é o custo alto disso, né? Então, a minha resposta, assim, parte desse custo já está sendo, já foi gasto, né, com free software. Né? Eu posso baixar um reconhecedor de emoções, transformar em música, por exemplo, estender alguma coisa. Então, me parece que o custo não é muito alto. É mais uma questão de rede, de conectividade entre engenheiros e artistas. Como é que isso funciona fora em outros países?
Good question. I think it depends. So I can talk about, I'm originally from Belgium. I'm now based in Barcelona. I lived in New York for 4 years. That's how I got hired by ThoughtWorks. So that's the countries maybe I can talk a little bit about. The connection between art and technology is a difficult one, artists and engineers. Because probably, as you said, both are in their own world and there's not many bridges. And that's why we need people with resources to create those spaces where those two converge. I think it's very important, and I hope the examples here show how important that can be and what are the good things that can come out of this. In Belgium, there is a small scene, we're a small country, there's a small scene of digital artists, which is not, I wouldn't say it's super well connected with the engineering world. In New York it feels a little different, but also due to the size of it. But I wouldn't say it's like an Eldorado, right? It's not the best place to have connection between artists and engineering. Spain is probably a similar situation. I think in the UK, probably the Anglo-Saxon world is more advanced in those topics than we are in the Roman inspired world. Yeah, it's a difficult question. I would say that there needs to be people with resources and intention to bring that up. We need to stop, separating those two. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's all I can say. I don't have a better answer. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. Great. I think.
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
First, sorry my broken English. And the question is that we want to know is how ThoughtWorks use the data produced by the artists on the company's day by day.
How we use the data?
Produced by the artists on the day by day. How the company use this.
So about data, I'm not sure what you mean. Like, is it, we're not tracking our artists and what they're doing, or how many times they come in the office and so on. We're using, and they stay owner of their work. They retain ownership on their work. I was talking about Heather and Karen's project and so on. Apart from the fact that they went through ThoughtWorks and ThoughtWorks Arts residency, they retain full copyright on it and they move along with those pieces of work. We have an agreement, though, that we can use the work they did during their residency for presentation like this one, to also show our clients that we're a cool company and we like to work with cool people, and so if you want to work with us, you know, so definitely it serves as promotional material or as conversation starters with our client to say, hey, we've done this with this person in this context. We're not going to apply to you, or we're not going to sell it to you because it's not our work. But it shows how we think, you know, what types of projects we're passionate about, how we think about the issues that technology these technologies address, and so on. So I hope that answers the question. Thank you. Was that the last one, or? Because we're coming to an end, I think. Great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your questions.
esse abraçar a diversidade de pessoas e ideias e dos novas conexões e novos significados.
Eu sou do Rio, mas eu vou no escritório aqui. Eu mudei de Porto Alegre, eu tenho 7 anos, mas a raiz é
Nos preparamos para entender a fundo os desafios dos nossos clientes e contribuir para o crescimento